comments regarding how big you are and how big you're getting, or how small you are and how can the baby even fit in there? Are you sure it's not twins? Are you sure it's not triplets? These kind of comments can start to drive you crazy at a certain point. Let's talk body image and pregnancy, some of the body changes you might be experiencing or have to look forward to, and the mindset shift that you can use to cope with this. When you think about body changes during pregnancy, what are some of the first ones you think of? For me, it was always my bump getting bigger, maybe a little bit of breast increase in size, but I hadn't really thought much beyond that. And the truth is, there's a lot more going on in your body, as we know, during pregnancy to accommodate this new life and to build a human being from scratch, which, if we pause and think about it, is pretty amazing. So it makes sense that our bodies, in order to create this amazing human being, are going to need to change a little bit and are going to need to have some alterations in order to give them what they need while still maintaining our own homeostasis. We think about the bump and we get all excited in the beginning. For me, that was the one I was looking the most forward to. But I was surprised how many unsolicited and hurtful comments I actually received about my bump, calling it a beer belly or fat. Those were the more severe ones, of course, but also comments regarding how big you are and how big you're getting, or how small you are and how can the baby even fit in there? Are you sure it's not twins? Are you sure it's not triplets? These kind of comments can start to drive you crazy at a certain point. But I want you to rest assured that no matter what size or shape your bump is, as long as your baby's healthy, that's normal. Bumps are like fingerprints, and they're going to be unique to you and your body and your situation. If a woman with a twin pregnancy is going to look different than a woman with a singleton. A woman with a very tall, lean body frame is going to look a lot different than a woman with more of an apple-shaped body frame who's only 5 feet tall. Your baby's size has a lot to do with it. Your amniotic fluid percentage has a lot to do with it. And then the actual structure of your bones has to do with it. For example, for me, one of the things that I noticed about my bump in the last about month is that my bump decided it wants to stick out on the sides like this. I had never seen a bump look like that. And so I started to be kind of hard on myself for it. Well, when I talked with my doctor, I realized I just have a short torso. And so the amount of space that I have between my hips and between my rib cage is fairly small, meaning that there's only room to go out on the side and go forward. The other things that might be unique to you are stretch marks. Stretch marks are 90% a result of genetics and are completely hereditary in that regard. 10% of it can be accounted to how big you're getting, for example, twins versus singleton pregnancies, how much moisture is in your skin, but a lot of it is completely out of your control. And sometimes it's not even a genetic thing. For me, I had a lot of women in my family tell me that they never got stretch marks, so I never expected it. But I've ended up getting stretch marks before even hitting the 3rd trimester. And mine in particular were on my hips and my thighs, areas that I didn't even know you could get them. These body changes can be really hard to cope with, whether they're down the line and in the bump and the stretch marks, or at the beginning when you're just bloated and you feel icky in your skin. But I want to tell you that it's all completely normal. There are certain things during pregnancy that are within our control and certain things that are out of our control. And you can think of them like 2 circles. Now, the ones in our control are our diet for the most part, getting nutritious food if you can, how much food you're consuming, and making sure you're eating enough calories for the baby of that nutritious food and getting those vitamins and minerals. Going ahead and drinking that water during the day, wearing your sunscreen, getting exercise. But besides the things that are in that bubble, we have the things outside of our control. And a lot of them are things that we need to do in order to accommodate our baby. Your skin needs to stretch to have a whole growing baby inside of it, because that's going to be a whole watermelon-sized new human. That's okay. Much of the body fat that we gain and the weight that we gain during pregnancy actually comes down to things like the placenta, the baby, the amniotic fluid, increased blood and fluid volume, and that's beyond our control. The normal healthy amount of body fat that we need to gain during pregnancy is also something that is not always within our control, as our body actually lowers our metabolism to make sure we're gaining that weight to have stores for breastfeeding and energy expenditure after giving birth. When I started this pregnancy, I was going from being in some of the best shape of my life, working out 5 days a week, strength training, rock climbing, and being very, very active, to then having a pregnancy where the first trimester I was so sick that I could barely get out of bed. This is going to make your body look and feel a lot different than it did. Not only that, but we're running with hormones that our bodies have never seen before, at levels we've never experienced before, all in order to give this baby what it needs. Acid reflux. I think something critical during this time period is giving your body grace, rest, and what it needs in order to accommodate the baby in a loving and non-judgmental way. We're constantly looking in the mirror and thinking, oh, I hate my body, I hate how fat I'm getting, I hate how much weight I have on me, I don't love the way that my body's changing during this pregnancy. Those thoughts are going to continue to ruminate in our head and not only affect our mental well-being, but what we know about pregnancy from a scientific standpoint is that these feelings that we're feeling hormonally and chemically actually get sent down to the baby, and they can experience these same emotions too. So it's really important that we are nourishing our bodies not only with the food we're eating, but also with the words we're saying about our bodies and the comments that we're making even in our own heads. One of the ways we can help support that are healthy boundaries with people. Maybe it's telling that coworker that you don't really want them commenting on your body, or telling your parent or grandparent figure that, you know, you're okay and you don't really want advice when it comes to things about your body. Maybe it's just saying, hey, that didn't make me feel good when somebody makes a comment. But these boundaries are going to keep you feeling a little more mentally sane and also help remind you when people do kind of say out-of-pocket things that that's not on you, it's not something you need to internalize, and that it's something you can let go. Now, I'm talking about this not only for your mental well-being, but for the sake of your child as well. One of the things that I've realized throughout this pregnancy is all of these insecurities that I've had about myself for so long, a lot of them being emphasized by the pregnancy, are things that my baby is going to very likely share with me. This baby in your body is 50% you, which is pretty amazing. But if you have this mindset where you are hating on yourself and looking in the mirror and constantly having these self-deprecating thoughts and feelings, this is going to translate also to how your baby views themselves as they hear you talk about yourself growing up. So it's really important that we break these generational curses of talking badly about our body, feeling badly about our body now. That way our children can grow up and have the most healthy mental health when it comes to their body image possible. There's a lot of health that I just said. Now, all of this is easier said than done, but the big thing that I want you to take away is you don't have to necessarily look at your body and say, this is the most beautiful I've ever felt, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't even feel that way. There are days that I wake up and I look at my body and think, I barely recognize it. But I'm not gonna get down on my body or myself for this. My body's doing an incredible thing, and the reason I don't recognize it is because it's doing all of this in such a short time period without even having to have instructions. When you think about that, that is an absolute miracle and something we should be grateful for. In a society that doesn't really praise motherhood, and oftentimes it feels like doesn't value it the way it should be, it's no surprise that when we look at pop culture and when we look at the world around us, things like tiny skinny bodies, surrogacy pregnancies that aren't medically required but just to keep the figure of the woman, getting liposuction after giving birth and having designer scheduled C-sections are very, very praised, and normal pregnant bodies aren't always displayed on the media or given the love and praise and attention that they should be. But that doesn't mean that you can't change that within yourself, within your home, and throughout the community by giving yourself that love. I will go ahead and leave a link down below to a document I made of just some affirmations that you can say to yourself in the mirror during pregnancy, just to empower you to have the best body image possible during pregnancy. Some of it, I understand, is a little out of our control. People make comments, society has their own views of women, which we can talk about another day, but there's a lot that's in your control and a lot that you can do to empower yourself, and I know that you will, to have the best pregnancy and the best life for you and baby. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment them down below. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, subscribe for more. I'm sharing this pregnancy as I go along, as well as some mom tips that I'm learning, a lot of the research that I'm learning about, which is absolutely fascinating. I also am going to be sharing a very easily digestible manner on this channel, so if that interests you, go ahead and subscribe as well. But for now, that is it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.